What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, and we got 27 games going on in the NBA today. I know I just made you look at your phone to double check if that was correct. No, we don't have 27 games going on in the NBA, although it feels like we have 27 games going on today. We have 10 games in the NBA going on today. So a very big slate compared to what we've been getting, these 6-game slates, these 8-game slates. 8 games is pretty good, but 10 games is quite a bit of games. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. In traditional early look video format, we're going to kick things off with a recap over our plays from yesterday. Make sure that we're up to date on some injury news, so we'll dig into that report, and then we'll dive into a couple of player props that I like that are already on the board. So if you like the way that sounds, then stick around, drop a like, sub, and click that notification icon to be notified of all upcoming content and videos from me and this channel. And without further delay, let us jump into those plays from yesterday. All right, listen, there's not a lot to talk about here. These plays just didn't work out for us yesterday. Al Horford shot 0 for 8 from the field before he finally made a shot. He took every shot that he could, and he just wasn't hitting them. Bad night for Al Horford. And then Franz Wagner took the over on his 4 assists, ended the night with 3. Franz Wagner had a pretty good night overall, but we needed 4 assists from him. Just wasn't getting it done. Typically, when you see a team getting blown out and you have an assist prop, probably not going to be a good night because shots aren't falling, teammates aren't making shots, hence why you're getting blown out. So those 2 props just didn't get the job done for us, but we're not running. I'm not running. I'm here every day going over these picks and being upfront and transparent with everybody with these picks. 6-pick flex also didn't work out for us. We saw some really awkward, weird shooting performances from a lot of these guys yesterday. Trae Young, believe he had 4 points at the half, finished the game with 13. That taco was rotten. And then we had Fred VanVleet. I mean, it was the Scotty Barnes show, so he just took a back seat to that performance. Jaren Jackson had a nice night, came through with his first half fantasy points. Nick Richard ended the night over his 23.5 PRA. So those plays felt pretty good to hit. But with that being said, we're moving on in to a new day. We have 2 new player props to talk about today. But before we get into that, let's make sure we're up to date on that injury news. All right, so currently we have Drew Holiday in probable long list here. Giannis, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Karl Anthony Edwards is what it reads on this report, but it should say Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Goran Dragic, unless he changed his last name to Edwards, and I wasn't aware of that. Questionable: LeBron James, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Lauri Markkanen, Jalen Brunson, Chris Middleton, Miles Turner, Norman Powell, Simone Fontecchio, Jalen Noel, Taurean Prince, Alex Caruso, Javonte Green, Joel Ingles, Maxi Kleber, Frank Ntilikina, Edmund Sumner, and Derrick Rose. Doubtful, we have Cam Reddish and Trendon Watford. And out, we have Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, Paul George, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, and Marcus Morris. All right, so going into some player props, we got 2 player props to talk about already on the board. So let's just dive on into these. All right, first prop on the board, we're going to talk a little bit about the aforementioned Karl Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. Now it's Karl Anthony Towns. It looks like DK Sports Live, Sportsbook, DK Live. Just made a mistake. So a lot to look at here. I see a lot of props on the board. A lot of things have been bumped up. His points have been bumped up. I believe his PRA has been bumped up. But today I want to talk about his turnovers. And I want to talk about why I like the over on these turnovers. Heading on over to props.cash, pulling up Karl Anthony Towns 10-game log here. Ooh, we got a lot of green going on here. A lot of green going on. So over 2.5 turnovers. Since returning to the lineup, Towns has turned the ball over 3 times in each of those 2 games. So let me make sure this is filter to all. There you go. Still a lot of green. So here you go, the 22nd and the 26th. These are his most recent games since being back in the lineup. Now, before you want to chalk this up to him just knocking the dust off and all that stuff, take a look at what he was up to prior to his injury. So in the rest of these games prior to his injury, you know, with that Washington game, Golden State, I mean, he's giving you a minimum of 2 turnovers in those games, but in a lot of those games, he's going over 2. He's averaging 3 in those games. Looking at this from a larger view, in these 23 games, 74% hit rate in terms of him hitting his 2.5 turnover prop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 games. Only 6 games in those 23 games did he not turn it over 3 or more times. So we're gonna go with the over here. This has a lot to do with the opportunities increasing with big men and turnovers, and we see it a lot. And so we're talking about offensive fouls, so charges. We're talking about trying to make passes in the paint, or trying to make just dumbass passes basically, and it results in a turnover. And a lot of it, honestly, is simply just not having great hands. Not having great hands, or trying to Euro step in the paint, or crossover in the paint, or, just stuff like that. You'd be very surprised as to how many of these big men, these centers, really don't have great hands, and they don't have soft hands. And so they fumble the ball a lot. Rudy Gobert is another great example of that, where he'll just fumble the ball in the paint, resulting in a turnover. So today we're looking for 3 turnovers from Karl Anthony Towns. I think we can get it done. And for our second play, we're going to head on over to the San Antonio Spurs and Utah Jazz game. And I want to talk about Zach Collins. A couple of different props I like here. Well, one prop I like here. One prop's not on the board. But today, for this video, we're going to talk about Zach Collins and his points and rebounds prop set to 24.5. And I like the over. I like the more on this one. All right, so let's take a look at Zach Collins over his last 10 games. 50% hit rate. Let's filter out the splits for the home games, and we can see that he's hit his prop in 4 straight home games. Now, versus Utah doesn't look all that great this season, but something I want to bring to your attention, in these 3 games, all 3 of these games, Zach Collins played well under his minutes average, his current minutes average. So in these three games, he gave you 23, 25, and 26 minutes. Filtering this back out to his last 10, we can see that Zach Collins is averaging 29, basically 30 minutes a game. So these 25 minutes, 5 minutes below his current season average, or his current 5-game average. Even closer, I mean, his 10-game average is closer to 30 minutes. So in those Utah games, we got to look at when those games are being played also. December, you had a much different Spurs team here. This game looked a lot better. But then this game, he took a tumble down. Digging into that game, didn't really get into foul trouble. Fouled out in these 2 games, so that'll do it every time. You foul out, you're probably not going to hit your point prop. You're probably not going to hit many props fouling out of the game. But in terms of his points, gave you 7 points in that final game back on the 28th. He took 15 shots. That's promising. So listen, if a guy's taking 15 shots, and he only scored 7 points. I mean, he took 4 3-pointers, missed them all. He was 1 for 15. I can't read that. Let's see if I can. He was 2 for 15 from the field. That's terrible, but he's taking his shots. So he's on the floor. He's involved in the offense, and that's all we can ask for. Stay out of foul trouble and make your shots. I think we're good here. I like the over on Zach Collins, 24.5 rebounds and assists. Points and rebounds. You may also look at his points, 16.5. I just like the combination of the 2. He's just been racking up a lot of rebounds, and he's just been, producing, honestly. And with all the injury news, we just read off the names that are out for the Spurs: Sohan, Devin Vassell, and I believe there was one more name in there. So let's see here. We have Keldon Johnson's out. We have Sohan is out and Devin Vassell is out. So yeah, I just like this prop for Zach Collins. I like his game environment, and I like the position he's in versus a team that I think he can exploit. Yeah, 24.5 points and rebounds. I like it all day long. Give me the over on this one. And here are our two player props on the board. We got Karl Anthony Towns over his 2.5 turnovers. And then we're going with Zach Collins, 24.5 points and rebounds. We like the over on this one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's early look and research video. We covered some injury news, recapped our plays from yesterday, and I gave you two player props that are already on the board. Drop me a comment below letting me know who you have your eyes on today's 27-game slate over in the NBA. Also, let me know what you think about these two early looks and picks into the board. Do you like them, love them, hate them, or do you want to leave them alone? And as always, thank you so much for all your continued support, the likes, the subs, and all the comments. It really means a ton in helping this channel just get a bit bigger every single day as we continue to push towards 4,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for everything. And until this afternoon's final look video, where we will be constructing a 6-pick flex, Chavez is